Want another way of knowing what Sense is seeing in your smart home? Curious to see how Sense is doing after just 2 weeks of use? Stay tuned and we'll get all this covered. Welcome to another edition of Tech Bites with Ron Nutter, your home for all things relating to smart home technology. In this episode, we're going to talk about connecting Sense to your Alexa. Hi, I'm Ron Nutter, and we're going to be working on this together. This content is also available as an Amazon flash briefing or podcast. Please go to techbiteswithronnutter.com for more information. For any items mentioned in this episode, there are affiliate links in the description. If you click on these links, I will get a small commission, but that won't affect the price you pay for the item. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please click on that subscribe button now and enable notifications. If this video helps you or provides value, please click on that like button, thumbs up. Now, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go over what I'm seeing in my Sense implementation after running it for about 2 weeks. Then we'll go through the process of connecting Sense to Alexa, and then we'll go through some of the commands where I'm talking to Alexa to find out what Sense thinks is going on. Now, let's get started. All right, we're going to switch over to my trusty Intel NUC where I do most of the management for everything we've got running here in the studio. And this is what Sense is looking like after 2 weeks of running. Now, it is doing identifying more right now. AC or heat, neither one are running. The freezer, I think it's occasionally, it may be reading the fridge instead of the freezer and vice versa, because I'll go and check and one's not running at one time and one is other. So it's still getting settled in. And once I've got a better handle on what things are getting misdiagnosed, then I'll go into the forums or reach out to Sense support, because it may be something very easy that can be identified. So this is all brand new technology, and they're still learning things. It's what I would call machine learning. So there's going to be some hiccups along the way. So I'm not upset, because at least it's giving me a good idea. Now let's go back to what we were looking at. Now this is where the trends information is really starting to give some information. Now there's last month, there's when you see it was up and running on the 17th, and on the 26th, I'm going to have to look at what I did today, because my suspicions are it got warm outside that day, because that is something that it was a little bit of a spike. Now, if I go into this month, okay, things are, the weather has been a lot more, no, I'll say normal. It hasn't been hot. It hasn't been cold. So there's been days that neither the furnace or the AC have been running. So that's to be expected to agree. Now that's when you look at it for a month. If you will look at it for a week, now granted, we're just in the first part of the week that I'm filming this segment in. So, we don't have a whole lot to work with, but we can flip back to the previous week. And I'm going to have to start watching what I do on Tuesdays, because that's the day I seem to be using the most power. And I've also got to look at temperature. And this is where I'm probably going to have to start keeping some records with what is going on in terms of temperature, because when the AC is on, it's an energy sucker. I don't care how good the unit you got is. It's going to light things up. And I could have been doing Instant Pot. Instant Pot also is a little bit of an energy user for some reason, and then don't get into my air fryer. So these are all things that it's still going to be like. Now here is what it has learned so far with the devices. So if we go down here to freezer, it will show you what it's been doing on any given day. If we look on the month, there's, it's been using some power, but not as much as it could. If we go to AC, we'll see what AC has been tracking. It's been off this month. Let's see what we tracked last month. Okay, we had, so the answer information was right there. If I went in, it ran a lot that day. So, okay, that would make sense. My power spiked up. But at least this way, as it identifies things, you can see what's going on. Now, when you get into something like garage doors, and I've got something called Garage It, I don't have the door. I'm not running it up and down 4 or 5 times a day. So it's apparently, it's using so little power that it's not able to really graph it. But if we look at I mean, it says, well, average 344 watts. So it is identifying it. Average times on a month, 90. I'll have to figure that one. I'll have to do some math and see what they're thinking about that one. 11 seconds is about right for what it would be doing. Now, Instant Pot, this is the one I'm curious to see if it's how much it's really diagnosing. It's not a heavy enough user to show up on the kilowatt hours, and that would be nice if, does that let us know? We're not going to export. It'd be nice if you could somehow scale down the power that it's graphing out there. It does show, well, this thing wasn't running in July, so August, September. Okay, there we go. I was on the wrong date. Not that that would ever happen. So it did record. I've used it some, not as much maybe as I thought I had. And then okay, now that was, it just hasn't recorded the graph for today. So that may be something it's going to update on a periodic basis. So you can, I guess, in the grand scheme of things, and this is the one that's stumping me. I've been working with different lights. I can't figure out which one it's picking up on, but we'll work on that one. And then pump, this has not been running a lot. As you can see, it's only recording 8 seconds. Now I've got 2 sump pumps in my basement with the way the drainage is in the neighborhood. I had a second one added just to keep things in check, so in case one failed, I wouldn't be totally dead in the basement. So that is on the grand scheme of things, that's not bad. That's where we stand at this point. Nothing has been added to Sense Labs. The power quality. Let's go take another look at that one. Power quality has done better this week. So that to me says less people are running the air conditioners because we had some significant drops in the past couple of weeks. So that was nice to be able to kind of see that. Still no problems with any power coming in. I am seeing decent consistent voltages on both the mains. Looks like it's pulling from one more than the other, so okay, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that, and I'm not well, we'll look at motor stalls. I have not had a motor stall yet, knock on wood. So that's just a brief update on where things stand, and I am very pleased in the grand scheme of things with where this is going, and I expect it to only get better. Again, it's going to take time. Been running for about 2 weeks. And if I still am not seeing some of the devices getting identified, I'm going to talk to the folks at Sense as well as going to the forums and seeing what others are doing. Because I'm not expecting maybe down to the bulb, but I hopefully long-term see a little more granular data in terms of being able to identify at least classes of devices. And again, this is, still in the process of learning. So I'm trying to be reasonable in my expectations. When you're setting up that new account for the Smart Home cloud service or device, please get a copy of my Smart Home device account checklist you see here on the screen. This will help make sure that everything gets written down that you entered to get that account created. The form will also serve as a backup copy when you get this entered into your password manager app. And if you're not already using a password manager app, please get one now and get started. You will be subscribed to my email list in exchange for the checklist. I won't share, rent, or sell your information to anyone. Now we're ready to get Alexa connected, and then I'll show you some basic commands on how to get things up and running. So first thing we'll do is we'll shift over here to the smartphone, and this is one way you can do it. I'm going to show you both ways depending on which happens to be your preference. So we'll go over here and we'll tap on Settings, and then we will go to My Home, and then Connected Devices, and then we will tap on Amazon Alexa. We'll tap on Open Alexa. Now at this point, it may prompt you to log in if you haven't logged in to either Amazon or to the Alexa portal from your smartphone. And this is the same thing as to be said for on the desktop. So we'll tap on Enable, and then we should be able to, okay, now this is, okay, so it was Amazon was prompting Sense because it wanted to verify credentials, which is fine. So we'll tap on Authorize, and it has, okay, so at this point, we're done. You notice I've got the red ring up. That was because I was doing some things that would have triggered Alexa. So now we'll take it off mute and Alexa, ask Sense how much power I'm using.
Your home is using 2,911 watts.
All right, then we'll see. Alexa, ask Sense if my refrigerator is running.
Yes, your fridge is running.
If I wanted to be sarcastic, I'd say, well, go ahead and catch up with it because I'm not going to be running after it. Sorry, that's an old joke. So you can see what is possible here. Now we're going to switch over to the desktop. So we'll take the same process here. Now it's maybe not as clear, and this is not a criticism of the folks at Sense. So we can go over here and we'll go click on your login name. We'll click settings, scroll down, and then here it has it as integrations. So it's on the smartphone, it is labeled as, let me get back over here, My Home, connected devices. So they list it a little bit differently on the smartphone. So it's just, basically you have to look for Amazon Alexa or Google Assistant or Google Home, depending on how you refer to it. So the same thing would do here. We would just click on Alexa and we would go ahead and move over here. At this point, it doesn't see me as having signed in, so that's fine. But you see the other commands that it has, that they suggest you can use. And this is any number of possibilities that you can do. It's just limited to what you've got available. You will need to do some testing. I have encountered one false condition so far. I asked it, was the garage door open? It said yes. And I brought up the smartphone app that has the garage door controller, and it said no. And of course it has sensors to back that up. And I even checked in the garage, and yes, in fact, the door was down. So some things you may have to experiment with, and it may take a reaching out to the folks at Sense to get a handle on what's going on. And it's, this is all pretty much brand new technology. There's going to be things that are going to hiccup here and there, and it may be something they need to go take a look at. So it's 6 ways, you may have to try things, and it's not a big deal. You'll just have to get used to working it. And sometimes, as with technology, it's not doing it maybe the way that you want to do it. It's doing it the way that it wants it done. And at the end of the day, isn't that usually what happens? You have to do it the way the technology is expecting. So that's a sense of what it can do. If you're watching this on YouTube, and you probably are at this point, you're going to see videos on the screen that are similar to the one that you're just watching now, or other content that YouTube thinks you might be interested in. If this video helps you or provides value, please click on that like button, thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please click on subscribe now and enable notifications. We'll see you in the next episode. Thanks for watching.